Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Astro Aqua Kitty on the Vita. Because why not? Let's do this old school. Let's do this the old first impression style, live commentary, and just edit it to sound better later on. So, here's our options. You got the obvious sound sliders here. Here's your controls, you can't rebind them, and this is one of my relatively big problems with the game. And you've also got a couple of other things down here which are relatively useful. Really, you don't need to change these. Making the minimap bigger just takes up more of the screen, and it just becomes a bit more of an annoyance. So, yeah, I don't know why you would change that. And the rest are just fine as they are. Have the buttons display on your heads-up display? Why not? Doesn't hurt. Label display? I don't even know what this is, but frankly, it doesn't hurt, so I guess why not? So the way this game works is actually quite interesting. If we go and look at a new game, we can see a few things here. There's a lot of individual difficulties. My current save game is on Experienced. And you've got 4 different characters to pick from in both the pilot and the engineer slots, and this actually determines what skills you'll have available to you throughout the game. And these can be anything from passive abilities that make you stronger, to active abilities that give you things like faster fire rates, give you special things like a Sentry gun on the field. My personal choice of people, I believe, was... who did I pick? I think I picked Fighter and Defense, didn't I? Yeah, I did. There they are, right there on the screen. And I believe that does actually influence the dialogue you get throughout the game slightly. There's very little in the way of actual plot, so I don't think it matters that much. It's just kind of a nice touch. Notably, there's also a Permadeath Mode, which is bizarre, because this game isn't a roguelike. It feels like one in certain senses, but as far as I can tell, there's no actual procedural generation. There's just a permadeath mode for the sake of having a permadeath mode. And something I will praise them on is that the trophy list doesn't require you to play on any particular difficulty or any particular permadeath mode. You can play this on relaxed to normal if you like and still get all the trophies. It doesn't matter. Which is good, don't get me wrong, it just feels weird. It feels like halfway through development they thought this was going to be a roguelike game, but then it turned out not to be, but they just kind of left some of the stuff in. But with that said, let's just go and get started on my game. I've been through the first 3 levels, and as you can see, my save time there says 1 hour 40 minutes, but when you die in this game, you get thrown back to your last save slot. So, I'm probably at around the 2-hour mark. We'll just say 2 hours and hopefully it'll be alright. I have not actually gone anywhere in this stage yet, but the 3 that I've played so far have been relatively similar to each other, so I imagine this won't be too much of a difference. Alright, so we have our goal for this level. Although, you don't really know if they're a goal or not. Sometimes you get objectives and you think, oh, you're going to need to do that to pass a level. But then you do them and it's like you get no reward at all. Or you get something simple like just a new item. I mean, it's okay. It'd just be nice if it was a little bit more clear on what you needed to do and what you didn't need to do. But it's not that big of a deal. So for those of you who don't know, the original Aqua Kitty was a Defender-style scrolling shooter. This game is actually a fair bit different in comparison. It is... I don't want to say it's an open-world shooter, but the map is big and sprawling. You get to explore it, and you get to level up, get upgrades, and use skills. Allow me to demonstrate my favorite 2 right now. That's the healing bubble and the Sentry gun. The healing bubble is really nice because when I sit inside it, my health regen goes up. And then I've got a Sentry gun. So I've got this neat little combination going on here where I drop the Sentry gun in front of the bubble and then stand back, heal up, and let the Sentry gun do my work for me. And there are, as I said, 4 different combinations of pilots and engineers that you can have. That'll change what you have available to you. So as a result, the game does have a fair bit of replayability because every thing that you do, every little change that you make can change how you play the game immensely. You get multiple different kinds of weapons too, like for example, I've got here I don't remember what their exact names are, but this gun that I've got here, it fires 3 shots in a row, and they are affected by a sort of lock-on. So if I get in the right position, I can lock onto him and fire, and it'll lock the shots on. It's great for taking out individual dudes. And I've also got this extra gun here, which is very powerful, but it has very limited shots. So you can see them recharging there. There are a fair few different kinds of weapons, and I have some of them available to me right now. So I can just swap out the weapons that I've got equipped right here and now. And I can use them next time I find some enemies. So this is a wave shot, goes through enemies, great for taking out small groups. And then you've got this. It's a piercing laser, but some of the weapons in this game are a lot less effective than others. Like, is there a reason to take this piercing laser over the proton charger? Because the proton charger does more damage, it's faster firing. It does take more energy, which you can see in the top left, it's the blue bar. But when you start getting even remotely, like, skilled in how this game plays, being able to fire these shots off faster is so much more valuable, and as a result, some of the weapons end up feeling kind of pointless. And it doesn't really help when they're all individually leveled, so when you get a relatively powerful gun, you end up equipping it, and then it's like, oh, this gun isn't particularly useful for what I need to do at the moment. Most of the time, that doesn't end up in the, I should probably run back to base before I lose all my health completely. So as a result, you end up with a weapon that's like, oh, this isn't particularly useful for what I need to get done. Because there are things like bosses and specific types of enemies in this game that aren't going to be very good to defeat when you've just got this bloody beam weapon here. I'm going to go save my game, because it's only... Let me try this again. You can't save automatically. You have to save manually at the dock. Thankfully, it also does bring your energy and your health back. One other nice thing about the way this game is designed is that most of the enemies that you kill will stay dead. So if you clear out an area, you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be clear of any of all enemies when you come back to it. So at least you don't have to go through the same set of hordes again. And it also helps because this game does have a monetary system, and we'll get into how that works shortly, but for now, let's just go and shoot a few dudes. And there are many different kinds of weapons. You've got, you definitely have things like torpedoes, and there is a helix shot, which is 2 shots that just swirl in and out of each other. There's a fair few different kinds of weapons. But as I said, all you really need is one weapon that fires off a straight and powerful shot like this one. And this does actually split into like 4 shots at the end of its range, which makes it a little bit more useful for taking out groups. And a weapon like this one, which can hit a lot of different enemies at the same time, and you're pretty much golden. And there are a couple of weapons that just really don't work like that. Like even the more powerful shots of the... Holy hell. Even the more powerful shots of like the plasma thing just kind of makes this blue shot here, the one that has limited shots, it makes this shot here a little bit useless. Not completely useless, mind you. If you pick it up and it's way more powerful than the shot you've got available to you, it's not that useless. It's just a little bit useless. There is clearly a tier list of weapons going on here. And it would be nice if it was just a little bit more balanced for different weaponry. So we just leveled up, but I'm going to point out that nothing actually happens right now. You have to actively get back to a dock before they let you take advantage of level ups. So you go around shooting enemies and getting gems, which are your currency. But we also can't do anything with them until we get back to base, so that's fun. Those guys took basically no damage from the wave beam. That's why you need a good singular shot that can beat the shit out of any enemy you come across. I'm just going to drop this sentry gun right here and let it do some of the work for me. My defense bulb is not recharged yet, unfortunately. Yep. Unfortunately, the sentry gun can die. Although it is notable that if you hit select, we're just going to ignore that screen right now, we can actually Reassign? Oh, no, we actually can't do it here. God damn it. Can only be done with a beacon. It's annoying. You can reassign all your weapons here, but you can't reassign your skills or upgrade your ship. Tiny bit arbitrary, at least in my point of view. Yeah, we don't want to be too close to that shit. Yeah, let's go back and heal. You do have natural health regeneration, and you can improve it, and I will explain how later. But right now, it just ain't enough for me, so we run on back here. It's also nice because, again, since everything stays cleared, you don't have to worry too much about going back. And you can just immediately head back to the fight you were having. And it's even to the point where enemies you've damaged will stay damaged. Like, I was expecting them to heal up, so I thought that was just a nice touch. See? He's still missing half his health. I'm just gonna come here, drop everything. Focus on something a little out of the way. Go, my little Sentry gun. Well, it's expired now, but he did his job. The levels are also designed in a relatively reasonable way, in the sense that, oh, Jesus. In the sense that they tend to loop back around on themselves. Oh, I've got my bulb. I can just lay that out and sit here for a little bit. Admittedly, it adds a little bit of annoying downtime, having to wait for your health to come back if you're way out and you don't want to go to the effort of going back home, but levels immediately lose all the health I just got back. Brilliant job. It just adds a little bit of downtime that I honestly don't appreciate that. Jesus, that was close. Alright, we're going back. It just adds a little bit of downtime that I don't really appreciate. Having to go back and heal up when you can very easily just, like, sit still for long enough, avoid combat for long enough, and just accumulate the same thing just slower. Who knows, maybe giving me the option to buy, like, consumable health items that I can activate from the select menu, that would actually be pretty cool. It also doesn't help that everything gets a relatively high difficulty up when you move to a new level. Like, I literally haven't played this level beyond getting to the initial spawn point and then just saving the game and recording this video. So, everything here is currently at the maximum difficulty it's going to be at for this level. It's always an upward climb. But then you come across a thing like this. Let's have a look at what you got. A sonic gun. So this is a level 11 sonic gun. I am currently level 10. So when I level up, I get the ability to equip that. And it's basically just a stronger version of this. But it also does come with a couple of other benefits. Namely, there are also some minor stat increases you can get off the back of that as well. Come on, Sentry gun, make up your... God damn it, Sentry gun. What's even in here? This looks like a bunch of random crap. Oh, there's a door on the other side, okay. Back we go. So while we're here, I might as well explain what's going on this screen. So you can see all your stats in the top right, you can see what the stats affect in the top left. You can go and buy stuff with gems, namely health, armor, and energy upgrades, or you've got the shop down here, which you can use to buy certain items and abilities. We are definitely going to need that faster health regeneration, and I think we can get rid of the faster energy regeneration, because you have two main slots for weapons, and you have 4 main slots for passive items down here. So I've got increase my maximum health, reduce all my skill cooldowns, faster health regen, and increase value of the gems. But you can also see that these actually add things. So increase my maximum health. That gives me 89, but I've also got 28 health on this and 22 health on this. So finding a good set of these will make you quite powerful. Sometimes it also doesn't. That's one of the things that always happens with this game. We can hold triangle to recycle this for money. What else we got here? Maximum energy and torpedo turn rate. I don't care about that. The proton orb is kind of useless just because it's so slow to fire and the area of effect isn't really that impressive. And the plasma shotgun is okay, but there are a lot of enemies in this game that have spread shots. So you really don't want to be up close and personal to them where they can hit you full in the face with one of those spreads. It never ends well for you. And yes, considering that I have a level 8 and level 9 gun and they're starting to sell me level 10 and 11 stuff, that means it's not particularly pleasant. We can also start unlocking and equipping things. So we can spend points to unlock stuff, but we can only have 4 of these equipped at the same time, and only 3 of them can be actives. So do I want to increase my fire rate? Well, I have to get rid of either armor piercing or my maximum ship health. We are not getting rid of my maximum ship health because that has saved my ass more than a couple of times in this recording already. So we're just going to equip Fast Fire as an ability. It is equipped to the R button. Or stay closed until lockdown is over, which means I need to go and find that third pirate. I can just drop them off here. Drop pirate rabbits into the jail. Okay. So where do I have to go next? There's a way up here I haven't explored yet. Sometimes they tell you where things are, and sometimes they don't. Also, yeah, wave shot, really useful if you see a pile of rocks like that, because you can just beat the shit out of the pile of rocks, and there you go. You've got a bunch of gems for you to pick up. They're also kind of hard to see. Admittedly, objectives in this game can be quite easy to miss, but there is also an advantage. If there is an objective, like, thing that you need to pick up and you miss it, you can open up your minimap. Your minimap will tell you where, like, environmental things are that you missed on your way through, as long as you've discovered the area, of course, and that makes it quite useful. So I'm not going to complain too much about the lack of visibility, because as long as you know that you can go and have a look, well, it's not going to be a problem for you, is it? See no damage there whatsoever. Alright, let's take this guy out. I was hoping for something a little more efficient. You might have also noticed that enemy dropped an item. It's rare, but it happens. And thankfully we can swap that out as soon as we get it, so... So it's all a game about managing your energy, swapping out your weapons, and being just a little bit of an RPG thing on the top. Hey look, a dock! Ain't that convenient. What do we got? What do we get? We got a coffee machine, but it's level 12. God damn it. We'll save, though. The music at least fits the theme. Bit weird to have a bunch of, like, cats floating around inside asteroids in space and it's all underwater. And it's definitely got this weird sense of humor about it. In the sense that they're all cats. And they all complain about running out of things like emergency milk. I just wish the exploring was a little more exciting. Like, sure, sometimes you find stuff like this, but 80% of the time that I've spent in the last, like, 3 or 4 levels, it's all been, like, running around in relatively similar looking caves, taking out relatively similar enemies, because the majority of the enemies in this game, now, I don't claim to know if this is true for any difficulties higher than experience, which is the difficulty that I'm on right now. I don't claim to know this, but most of it has been basically enemies that fly around and shoot 1 shot at you, enemies that fly around and shoot 2 shots at you, enemies that fly around and shoot a spread at you, enemies that are just mines. There are very few exceptions to most of this. Huge disruptive energy sources, hey? Okay, so where are we going? We're going up, we're going to the right, and we're going to the bottom left. Got it. Actually, just while I'm here, never hurts. But yeah, I wish the exploration was just that little bit more exciting. Because outside of like gigantic robots like the one you just saw, most of the levels just look like this. Oh cool, we got an engineer, so that means we get to go through doors like this now. We gotta wait for him to do the job. Then we pick him back up and we can go on. Bonus objective, that'll probably get me an extra item or two. I will tell you my biggest problem with this game though, and I understand that this is gonna sound a bit nitpicky, but it's a scrolling shooter, and I feel like this is one of the biggest sins a scrolling shooter can commit. You can only move using the analog stick. No D-pad control whatsoever, because pressing any direction on the D-pad is one of your interacts. So, yeah, I don't understand this for multiple reasons. One, the interact is kind of useless. There's like 0 point to needing an interact button in this game specifically, because there are a couple of things that you can interact with, and they are almost always something you want to interact with as soon as you touch them. There's switches, which open doors, and there is no reason to not open a door in this game. And there's save points. And again, when you die, you get thrown back to your save point. Or in the case of permadeath, you just don't. But, if you're going over the top of a dock, there is no reason not to save. Because not only does it give you all your health and your energy back, it also saves your game. So if you die, that's where you end up. So why you don't automatically save when you go over the top of one of them? Fuck if I know, right? And 2, it's a scrolling shooter. And some of these bullets can be... Some of these bullets, these patterns... I'm not going to say it's over the top, but I am playing on expert. This has the potential to be a lot worse. And as you can see, it's still a relative challenge. Staying alive. I just completely used all the abilities that I shouldn't have because I couldn't remember what bloody button my health regenerating shield was on. Damn my lack of memory. But yes, this game is relatively difficult, and it can probably be more difficult. So you want as much precision as you can get, and being on an analog stick? Whew, that's not precision, mate. You can always just nudge it a little bit by accident and end up somewhere that you don't want to be. And that's never good. But, to add to like a second side of this argument, we're all, well, at least on this version anyway, on versions like the Switch, it's not going to matter, at least not for as long. But, when it comes to the Vita version of this game, you're playing on a platform that has analog stick drift. We can't get replacements. And we can't get replacements, and we can't buy new Vitas because the Vita has been out of production for a couple of years at this point. So like, what the hell do you do if you've got a game like Astro Aqua Kitty that relies on it? And it comes back around to me saying that you, at least as far as I know, in this game you never have to interact with anything. Well, there are things that you can interact with, but you never not want to interact with them, so you might as well replace it with just move over the top of it and interact with it immediately, because there's no reason not to. At least from what I've seen so far. Like I said, there's a switch there. But why would I not want to hit this switch? And even if I don't want to hit this switch, why can I not just avoid it? So it just seems bizarre to me. This is coming from a guy who plays Doria's First entirely on D-pad, by the way. I like to think I know what I'm talking about. At least a little bit. Let's get those new weapons on, eh? I got a second one, of course I bloody did. Yes, I will recycle it. No reason to hang on to that anymore. I don't like this weapon. No, just holding onto it for demonstration purposes. There is a trophy for filling up your inventory. The question is, why would you when you can sell shit for gems? Just seems entirely against the point to me, but okay. There we go. So what does the switch do? Turns that beam on. What does that accomplish? What did I get? Proton charger? Oh, it's one of those things. Cool. I'll replace that with that just because it's stronger. Didn't even realize that was a door you could fix. Good job, mate. You know what? Sentry gun. You take care of that while I wait down here. Oh, there's a turret there. Oh, they respawn. That's not good. The hell is this room meant to be? Ow. Well, I get to go back to the last save point. Where was the last save point? Great. I don't even get to keep the stuff that I had, because I found it all while I was down there. Great. Well, you know what? We've been at this for half an hour, and that's pretty much what the game looks like. So I think we'll call the video off here. I think I've said everything that I want to say. Oh, I'll go over a couple more things just quickly while we're here. Performance is great. I don't have a problem with the way this game runs. It's obviously been properly optimized, and it's not just a rush job on a Unity port or something. It loads really quickly. It runs perfectly fine. Saving is very... Well, I don't want to say very quick, but I mean, like, look. Less than a second and you're good to go. Well, not less than a second. Less than 2 seconds and you're good to go. And it does look nice. But again, it's just kind of let down by the fact that a lot of the areas look kind of the same. It's going to be like a bunch of caves that look like this, but with different background colors, and that's pretty much the entirety of the look of the game for the most part. There are bosses, and they are interesting fights, but again, it's kind of let down by the way the weapons work, because you're going to want something that just hits strong and hard in one spot like this gun for the majority of the fight, because, well, there's no point in doing anything else, really. And, what else is there? No, I think that's it, really. So, it is a decent game. I'm not going to call it bad, but it does have a few things I'd like to see fixed. More interesting level layouts. Maybe a little bit better in the way of upgrades so that I don't feel like I'm underpowered. Like, I was overpowered in the last stage, and now I come in here and I feel like I'm underpowered. Can't imagine what someone who just left as soon as they could would have done. And I would really like to see the ability to control the game via the D-pad. But the shooting action's alright. It's got a fair bit of replayability. Handles well enough for the Vita at the very least. And it's got a decent amount of content. You'll be here for at least 4 hours, probably longer. And not to mention, if you want to play through again with a different set of abilities, that could change the way that the game handles enough for you to find a bit more replay value in it. So yeah, it's okay. Would I recommend it? Not outright, but if you like what you see here and you're willing to pay $15 US for it, you'll probably enjoy it. Alright, that'll do, I guess. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time. Mouse cursor.